Thank you everyone for tuning into this video in our series about issues related to the COVID-19 virus here in Vermont. Today I have Vermont's 2017 Teacher of the Year, Kate McCann. She is a high school math teacher at U32. I had the pleasure of going to her classroom a couple of years ago. It was a lot of fun. She is with me to answer questions that a number of parents have shared with me about how to juggle their kids, schooling at home, and all the rest of it that they've got going on. And now, no matter how long it lasts, because now we've heard this is going to go through the whole school year. It's going to be a lot of work for teachers, adjusting your curriculums and getting it to the kids. It's going to be a lot of work for parents at home, figuring out how to do this. And hopefully with Kate, we know she's a great resource, great teacher, and hopefully through this program can be a great resource for Vermonters as we all try to adjust to this new and unfortunately lasting situation. We'll also be discussing what teachers are facing right now and how we can come together as a community to support our teachers because they're really also being asked to do double time. Kate, thank you for joining me today.
I'm happy to participate.
Let's start by talking about the big picture. What's going on with the education system in Vermont? What are high schools and teachers asking parents and children to do to keep up with their schooling?
Right now, teachers are being asked to connect with students. So we're using the phone or online or through email, just making those connections, checking on students. At U32, it's been made abundantly clear to us that we should not be incorporating new learning, but rather maintaining learning or providing some enrichment. However, schools will be required to implement continuity of learning plans for remote learning, which will continue now through the end of the school year. Districts are required to make that transition to continuity of learning on or before Monday, April 13th. We're asking parents and children first and foremost to stay home and communicate their needs. Do families need medical assistance? Do they need food? Do they have reliable internet? Do the students have the resources like textbooks that they need at home? We're asking our parents to help their children develop a schedule for the day to ensure students are getting out of bed, practicing good hygiene, nurturing their bodies with food and exercise, as well as balancing their time between schoolwork, playtime, and family responsibilities and obligations. We're asking our students to communicate with their teacher advisor every day, and we're asking our students to correspond with us through email, regularly checking their announcements and assignments in Google Classroom, and to do the best they can in these difficult times.
But how are you handling both taking care of your own kids, your own household, and teaching with it all happening at once all the time?
This is a really loaded question, and I know it looks different for many of us. I'm thankful that my own girls are both independent and intrinsically motivated to do well in school. I gave each of them a template and asked them to draft up a daily schedule to include school, chores, exercise, and time to connect with family and friends. I wanted to be sure that I built my own schedule around theirs so that I could provide them some help when they needed it, especially with their math. So far, so good, and I'm excited by the way my daughters have connected and started incorporating Nora's family consumer science class and Casey's foreign language classes into some authentic feasts, alternating between French and Latin cuisines each week. My day starts with checking in with my teacher advisory group of 9 seventh graders from U32. Early in the week, I spend much of the time planning and offering Zoom office hours. Later in the week, I teach classes via Zoom. And scattered throughout the week, I spend a lot of time providing feedback on the assignments that students submit via Google Classroom. Zoom is interesting. If you aren't familiar and tech savvy enough to change your background, you really are inviting others into your home. And for some students, they experience a certain amount of shame with this, that maybe their home, their space, their things aren't as nice as those of their peers. And because of this, we have some students who are really resistant to connecting virtually with their teachers and also with their peers in this way. On a more positive note, I have a student with special needs who reached out to share some concerns about the work and expectations. He's confined to a wheelchair and unable to handwrite any of his work. I was able to pull up the assignment and share my screen with him through Zoom, and he walked me through the assignment verbally, and it was great to see his confidence soar as he demonstrated proficiency. In addition to all this, I make it a priority to practice some self-care each day with a long walk or a run on my treadmill, and definitely an afternoon iced coffee.
What do people do if they don't have broadband? How are teachers helping with that?
We have several students who I think are struggling with making this internet connection. I am hopeful And I'm excited about the fact that some of these internet providers are reaching out and doing what they can to either increase the amount of service or actually install some service in some places. But we have some elementary school teachers who are making packets and getting those packets of work sent out to students. And then they'll just continue that process, I guess, throughout.
Are there tips and tricks that you'd like to share with parents about how to help their high school age children navigate these online tools?
So I'm focusing on communicating with students through email, Zoom, and Google Classroom. I'm using Khan Academy, AP Classroom, and StatTrack as resources for my students. I appreciate Zoom and Pear Deck and all those internet providers that I mentioned who are doing all they can for helping educators and students be able to connect with one another. I know that we have educators who are struggling to juggle obligations at home and teaching their students from school. And my advice is just to do what you can. As a union leader, I provided some advice to someone with young children the other day and said, just try 5 hours a week. Maybe it's 2 hours of connecting with your teacher advisory, 1 hour of planning, 1 hour of direct instruction, and 1 hour of providing some meaningful feedback to your students. We can only do what we can do at this time. And we need to be mindful that what we can do isn't the same as what others can do. So I'm grateful for the leadership and the humanity demonstrated by the administration at U32 as we move through this. As for my advice to parents on how to teach math, find a mentor for your students. This could be an aunt, an uncle, a cousin, a friend, a colleague, whoever. And the reality is finding another adult or even a young person to personally connect with your child is the best thing that could happen during this crazy time. And if you can't find someone, email me, Kate McCann, at u32.org. I'll help you, or I'll be able to put you in touch with somebody who can help. More advice is be patient, ask questions, and relax. We are all navigating this for the first time, and there's no handbook for how to deal with this. Ask your son or daughter to show you Google Classroom, enter the room and investigate what the tasks and assignments are, and look for deadlines. And then email the teachers if you need some clarification or have some questions. And the teachers will answer those emails.
With respect to parents who want to supplement what they're getting from you as the teachers and from their schools, are there other activities that they can find online? What do you have any resources you can suggest?
My advice for parents is just to explore and give your child some time to do that as well. Some online resources that I would suggest are exploring the Space Station Explorers with the ISS National Lab. There's something called Quarantine Virtual Science Cafes that I know my daughter participated in this past Wednesday, and other resources like that that are being offered by UVM Extension. AP Central is a good resource. Teaching Tolerance material at tolerance.org. Teach Engineering, which is a K-12 STEM curriculum produced in partnership between the University of Colorado Boulder and Oregon State University. The Vermont Council of Teachers of Mathematics, which I'm a part of, is pulling together some resources, and we'll have those up online shortly. Amazon Future Engineer is offering some free programs during this time. And also Khan Academy has some great learning opportunities with some videos to go along with it.
Some parents have come to me with concerns that their high schoolers are spending significant amounts of time on screens right now. We're experiencing that in my own house. Not maybe quite a high schooler, but are there any resources for more offline activities that high schoolers can do during this time?
Some of the activities that I already mentioned, you can pull those things offline, but a lot of them are hands-on where you're actually building some things with high schoolers. So I would suggest checking out some of those. Other suggestions just include having some fun, flying a kite, launching a rocket, making a meal together, making some art, playing an instrument, planting a garden, playing with Sphero or drone if you have that available, and just about anything connects back to math and science. So I would just suggest that you go for it.
How has this shift affected you or teachers as a whole? And what can we do as a community to help you?
Teachers struggling the most are those with young children as they juggle parenting, homeschooling, and remote teaching, but also teachers who care for aging parents, or teachers or those who have partners with compromised immune systems, teachers juggling multiple preps, and teachers whose children do not have reliable internet access at home. But let's remember that behind every great teacher, there is a great educational support person. And these folks are generally overworked and underpaid. And now, because school districts aren't prepared to find them meaningful and safe work, these hardworking Vermonters are at risk of losing pay and benefits. So I would ask that people keep them in mind as we move forward. I'm forever grateful for the network of amazing educators that I have across the country through my ties with the National Network of State Teachers of the Year, the Presidential Awardees for Excellence in Math and Science Teaching, and the Albert Einstein Distinguished Educators Fellowship. I'm grateful for my strong connection to my union, Vermont NEA, and grateful for the support system within my family. Remote teaching and learning is considerably easier for me because of my connections and the professional development that's been afforded to me. It certainly isn't what's best for students in the long run, but it is what's best for students right now. I'm ready for the challenge, and I'm committed to supporting my colleagues during the transition. Parents, again, I would say be patient with your schools and your teachers as we transition, but speak up, ask questions, reach out, because it's going to take all of us to make this work. And if there are people out in the community that have certain skills that they're willing to share, please consider reaching out to schools and teachers directly if you want to, and becoming a mentor for a student or a group of students. If there was ever a time that we should be building community and strengthening that community, it's now.
I really appreciate the time as well as the work you do as a teacher in these struggling moments. If folks would like more information about COVID-19 in Vermont, you can visit the Vermont Department of Health website, www.healthvermont.gov. You can also visit my website, zuckerman4vt.com, for other COVID-19 resources. I'm Lieutenant Governor David Zuckerman. This was one of the many conversations that I'll be having with experts across Vermont for Vermonters during this coronavirus pandemic, and how we can all make it through these challenging times together. So thank you again, Kate, for joining us, and good luck, and have a safe day today, tomorrow, and each day going forward, and do take care of yourself.
Stay safe.